up everyone, welcome to Motobeto 82. In today's video I'm going to be going over the Yamaha's WR250R self-diagnostic tools. So the ECU comes pre-programmed to do some diagnostic assessments, which is pretty cool because usually you would need some special kind of tools to do that. So stick around and I'll go over all the 21 diagnostic assessments that you can do with your WR250R. What's up guys, welcome to Motobeto. Just letting y'all know that y'all might hear a lot of traffic because I do live close to highway, so my mic is going to pick up a lot of that sound. But today's video is going to be over the diagnostic mode that's equipped in I think all of Yamaha's bikes. So with this feature you can diagnose sensors, relays, actuators. Usually you would use this feature when your check engine light comes on, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case in order for you to get value out of this feature. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take off all the fairings, that way I can show you where the sensors, actuators, or the relays are located on the bike that you're going to diagnose. It'll just be easier to pinpoint them out without the fairings on. So I'm going to do that real quick and then I'll show you how to access the diagnostic mode. Alright, now that I have all the fairings off, the next thing I'm going to do is disconnect the wiring coupler from the fuel pump. That step isn't essential for you to access the diagnostic mode, but if you're going to diagnose the actuators, like for example, like the fuel injector, the part of the diagnostic mode is you have to listen to the actual actuation of the fuel injector, so you have to listen for it. So every time you turn the engine stop switch, which is part of the diagnostic process, it also turns on the fuel pump, so there's noise with the fuel pump being on. So it's probably a good idea to disconnect the fuel pump, that way you can listen to what you're actually diagnosing. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to disconnect the fuel pump. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is make sure that the main switch is in the off position and that your engine stop is in the on position. Then you want to simultaneously hold the select 1 button and the reset button for a couple seconds. Then you're going to turn the main switch to the on position. You're going to continue holding the select 1 and the reset button, and then the screen is going to go automatically to the diagnostic mode. So then you're going to turn off the engine stop switch, and then you're going to hold the select one and the reset button for a couple more seconds, and then you're going to access the diagnostic mode. To toggle through the diagnostic codes, you would hit the select one button to go up, and then the reset button to go down. And you're going to see the fuel light flash 8 times. That's basically just telling you that your fuel pump isn't working, but we know it's not working because it's disconnected. So don't pay any attention to that. The first sensor code I will be going over is the 01 code, which is the throttle position sensor. The checking method is with the throttle fully closed and the throttle fully open. Fully closed, you should see a value display on the screen between 15 and 19, and fully open, you should see the values between 95 and 100. If the display values are not within those numbers, you need to adjust the throttle position sensor. All right, so the throttle position sensor is located on the right side of your bike. It is underneath your gas tank and behind your frame. I don't know if you can see it right there, but that is your throttle position sensor. There's 2 screws. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, right there. That's one of the screws, and the other screw is on this side right there. You would unscrew those 2 screws and then kind of play with the position of this sensor here, and that's how you would adjust it. It's a little hard to get to. You're gonna have to take your tank off. You're gonna have to take your air box where it connects to the throttle body. You're gonna have to kind of separate there so you can access the sensor. Okay, so the next code that I'm going to go over is going to be the 03 code. It tests the intake air pressure sensor. There should be a number on the display. If the number changes when you hit the start button on your bike, you know that it's working properly. So right now, as you can see on the display, the sensor reads a pressure of 101. So what you want to do is you want to turn on the engine kill switch and then hit the start button, and you should see a change in pressure. If you see the display changing, then you know that the sensor is working properly. And the intake pressure sensor is located on the left side of the bike in all the cluster here by where the battery is located. It's in that area. I don't want to dismantle everything to pinpoint it out, but it's in there. So the 05 diagnostic code is the intake air temperature sensor. This would be a number close to the temperature outside. So that's, I guess, how you would check if it's working accurately or not. 82 seems about right. I'm in the shade. It's pretty close to the actual temperature around here, so it's working accurately. And the temperature sensor is located same spot where the air intake pressure sensor is located. So it's in the same cluster of sensors. Moving on to the 06. That is the diagnostic code for the coolant temperature sensor. On the display there should be a number that, since the bike's been off, it's at whatever temperature is outside. But if you had your bike on and you were running it, obviously that number would be much higher. And you can find the coolant sensor in the same location where the air intake and the air temperature sensors are located. Moving on to diagnostic code 07. 07 diagnostic code is for the speed sensor. It should be 0 on the display since the bike is in the neutral position. It's not moving forward or backward. And the display should change if you roll the rear tire. So if you roll the rear tire, you should be able to see a change in the sensor. So that kind of tells you that it is working. And the speed sensor is also located in that same cluster of sensors. All right, so moving over to diagnostic code number 8. So diagnostic code number 8 is for the lean angle sensor. You should see a display of a number, and if the bike is upright, which it is, it should be between 0.04 volts and 1.4 volts, which it is. And if you were ever to tip your bike over, the voltage will not be within that range, and it will cause the sensor to turn off your bike. The lean angle sensor is located in the same cluster of sensors that I showed you a little while ago. Diagnostic code 09. Diagnostic code 09 is for the fuel system voltage, or just the battery voltage. If you turn on the engine stop switch, you should see a number on there. If you have a good healthy battery, it should be 12 or over. And if you're having issues with your battery or the charging system, that number most likely is going to be below 12. The 20 diagnostic code is for the Sidestand switch. The Sidestand switch is located right there, right by your Sidestand. So whenever you put your bike in gear and you have the Sidestand down, it's going to activate this sensor right here, and it's going to turn your engine off. That way you're not riding around with your Sidestand down. So if you take the bike out of gear or in neutral position, you can put it down and have the bike on at the same time, and it's not going to turn your engine off. Diagnostic code 21. That is for the neutral switch. It should be on the on display. You should see it off if it's not on neutral. So right now we know that it is on neutral. So if I kick it down to first gear, you're going to see that it goes off. So I'm going to put it in neutral again, and it goes into the off. All right, so I'm going to go to the code 60. Oops. All right, so diagnostic code 60 is for the EEPROM fault code display. If you see no faults, then the display should show 00. This will indicate if there's something wrong with the actual diagnostic process of the sensors. For example, if something was wrong with the actual testing process of the speed sensor, then you would see the number 07 on the display. Doesn't mean that there's something wrong with the speed sensor, just with the actual testing process. So right now you see 00 there, so the diagnostic mode is working properly for me at the moment. All right, so now we're going to move over to code 61. And Diagnostic Code 61 is the history of the fault codes. So if you ever had your check engine light turn on, you would see those codes flash through there. So if you've dropped your bike and it turned off, you would see a code 30 on there. And so yeah, that's just the history of your fault codes. And I'll do a separate video with all the different fault codes for the WR250R, so look towards that. All right, so moving on to Diagnostic Code 62, and that is the diagnostic code for the fault code history erasure. So to erase those history fault codes showing, all you would do is just turn on the engine kill switch on and off, and then that will erase all your fault codes. So Diagnostic Code 63. Diagnostic Code 63 is basically if you currently have a fault code, that's where you would see the actual fault codes that you currently have. Currently I don't have any, so it's at 0. All right, so Diagnostic 70. This is, on the service manual, it says that it's for a control number. Honestly, I have no idea what it's really for. Mine's always shown 0. I've done some searching on the service manual, I've done some searching online, and I can't really find a good explanation for this fault code, so I'm not really sure what it's for. Okay, so now I'm going to go over the diagnostic codes that diagnose the actual actuators. So the diagnostic codes that I went over first are the ones that diagnose sensors. These are going to diagnose actual actuators. So the first one I'm going to go to is number 30. So let me go back to number 30. All right, so there's number 30. And this diagnostic code diagnoses the ignition coil. To start the diagnostics, you would turn the engine stop switch. You would turn it on, the engine stop switch. It will actuate the ignition coil 5 times, and it will illuminate the light for 5 times. All right, so there you see it turns the stop engine light 5 times, so it's working properly. And the ignition coil is located underneath your tank. So if you lift your tank and kind of look right there, that's where your ignition coil is. All right, so moving over to fault code or diagnostic code 36, checks the injectors. It actuates the injector 5 times, as well as illuminates the check engine light. Yep, so you could definitely hear it. I don't know if my microphone caught it. All right, so the injector is also located underneath the gas tank, but it's more in this cluster right there. I don't know if you can tell where it's at, but there's this coupler that connects right there, the injector. So yeah, the injector is underneath all that. The next diagnostic code I'm going to go over is the code 48. It checks the air induction system solenoid. It actuates the solenoid 5 times, as well as turning on the check engine 5 times. You could also hear the operation of the solenoid, but I have replaced my exhaust and I've taken out the AIS system, but you would find the electrical connection here, and you can see that the system connects there, and it goes all the way around to the air box, and it connects there as well. But like I mentioned, I've taken that off because I've got the full exhaust. So yeah, I can't turn it on for you, but you won't be able to hear the operation of the solenoid because it's not there. Code 49. Diagnostic code 49 checks the intake solenoid, which actuates 5 times, as well as illuminates the check engine light 5 times. You can hear the operating sound of the solenoid. So let's turn that on, see if we can hear it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's located right here. So this is where the air intake valve. So the solenoid is back there. So it actually, if you need air, it opens up this valve here. And solenoid is in that cluster as well. So this is where it's located. Code 50. Code 50 checks the fuel injection system relay. It actuates it 5 times, as well as illuminates the check engine light. You should be able to hear the operating sound of the relay. So let's turn it on, see if we can hear it. Okay, and the relay is located on the left side of the bike. It's located in this cluster of wires right here. You can hear it in that area. So moving on to diagnostic code 51. This code checks the radiator fan motor relay. It will actuate the relay 5 times, as well as illuminate the check engine 5 times. You could also hear the radiator turn on, as well as the relay actuating. So let's see if we can hear it. So I was able to hear it. It's also located in this cluster of wires here. And if you don't already know, the radiator fan is located behind the radiator right here. And you can see right here where it turns on. Okay, so that's working properly. Moving on to diagnostic code number 52. It checks the headlight relay, and it will actuate your headlight 5 times. You'll visually be able to see your headlight, and you can also hear it. All right, and that relay is also located in this cluster of wires here. And you'll be able to see your headlight as well turn on, so you know that it's working. See, my hands are over here. This bike's doing that all on its own. Diagnostic code 53. That checks the EXUP motor, the servo motor. That's that little valve on your exhaust that regulates the back pressure of the system in the lower gears. I've taken that off as well. Yeah, you're not going to be able to hear it turn on, but it is located. It should be here. This is the old connection to it, but I've taken that off, so I can't really show you. All right, guys, that's it for the diagnostic modes. It's a really handy tool to have, especially if your bike has the check engine light turned on and you're showing fault codes. It's a good, easy way to diagnose, to see what is actually going on without having to buy a special tool. So kudos to Yamaha for providing those types of things to their customers. But yep, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.